What is going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about my Ford Mustang Bullitt. And I go to a lot of car shows, I drive down the road, and I get a lot of people with their eyebrows raised like, what kind of car is that? How is that? What is that? Is that an EcoBoost? What is this car? So in today's video, we're going to be covering how a Bullitt Mustang is different than a Ford Mustang GT.
Try to take it from me. Yeah. Big time. Big time. Big time. Big time.
And guys, if you haven't seen the movie Bullitt with Steve McQueen in it, a lot of this isn't going to make sense to you because this car pays tribute to that movie that was made in the 60s with Steve McQueen ripping around San Francisco in a Ford Mustang that was modified, and he was being chased by a Dodge Charger. So a lot of the things that you see are kind of throwback. They're throwback things that aren't typically done now in cars. So if you guys haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend it. It is one of the best car chases of all time. But with that, guys, let's jump into today's video and share with you how my Bullitt Mustang is different. So the Bullitt Mustang actually has a little bit different setup than the Mustang GT, and therefore makes a little bit more horsepower, which we're going to talk about. So this car actually borrows several parts from the Mustang Shelby GT350. It borrows the air intake manifold. It also borrows their cold air intake system. This car has an 87mm throttle body, whereas the standard Mustang GTs just have an 82mm throttle body. This car is tuned, so this puts out 480 horsepower, where standard Mustang GT only puts out 460 horsepower. They both have the same pound-feet of torque, but what I've heard from Ford is this car actually pulls all the way up to redline, where the standard Mustang GTs only pull up to about 7,000 RPMs. So as we've talked about some of the horsepower differences, about the 20 horsepower, different tune, some of the parts from the Shelby GT350, the Bullitt Mustang speedometer actually goes up to 180 miles per hour, whereas the standard Mustang GT only goes up to 160. So top speed for the Bullitt Mustang, where it tops out, is 163 miles per hour. I've come close to that, maybe not. And the regular Mustang GT, it tops out at 155. So you get about 8 more miles per hour on the top end of the cars. One interesting thing to know is on the Bullitt Mustang, they actually rate it 1 mile per gallon lower on the freeway at 24 versus 25 with the Mustang GTs. But I have actually found that if you're not rodding the car, you can actually get well over 25 miles per gallon on the car. One other thing to point out about the Bullitt Mustangs is you can only get it in 2 colors. You can get it in Highland Green, and I've heard that the Highland Green has a little bit more blue speck in the paint, so it's a little bit different from the 08s. And you can also get it in Shadow Black, which is what I have. However, this will be my last black car, but it looks really good. The green at first I really didn't like, but it's really grown on me a lot, and I think the Highland Green looks awesome. All right, so let's just go around the exterior of the car, then we'll go around the interior and just point out just some of the quick differences of how this Bullitt is different than a standard Mustang GT. The first thing you'll notice is there's no pony badge right here. As you kind of go around the car, that's a consistent theme. There is no badges really anywhere, and if there are a badge, it has Bullitt on there. So I actually think it gives the car a really mean, awesome looking front end. And I love how this car looks compared to other Mustangs. So no badge right here. One thing that you will note is this is a gloss black on the top and the bottom. A lot of Mustangs are mismatched on this, and it kind of looks weird in my opinion, but this comes with both gloss black. It obviously has the chrome trim around here. You will notice kind of the front lip similar to a Mustang GT Performance Pack 1. It's because this car has a lot of the same features as a Mustang GT Performance Pack 1. Kind of moving around to the side here, you're going to notice that this has some unique wheels on it. These are torque thrust wheels. Obviously we have just the aluminum kind of around the outside. It kind of pays homage to American racing wheels. This is special to the Mustang Bullitt. You'll also notice that you have the red brake calipers on standard Mustangs. It's typically gray, but they painted it red for this. It does have the 6 pistons, which you can get on the Mustangs as well. Another thing you'll notice is there's no 5.0 badge right here. Once again, carrying on a very consistent theme of just minimal badging. So you will notice around here that we do have kind of the chrome trim pieces. You can actually get that on a couple of the European cars, and on some of the EcoBoost trim levels you actually can get it too, but for the most part you're not going to find it on other Mustangs. And once again, guys, that's just kind of a throwback to the movie. They're not trying to do anything unique or different. They're really just trying to pay homage to the existing movie car. So as we kind of move around to the back end of the car, you're gonna notice here first and foremost, there's no GT badge. It's a Bullitt badge. So once again, carrying on kind of that same thing. Nothing different here with the headlights or anything else like that. You will notice here that there are no kind of diffusers on this. They've kind of gotten rid of that, and that's something custom and unique to the Bullitt. One other thing to note on the exhaust, you know, because this car borrows some of the parts from Shelby, because this car is tuned, it has the active exhaust, I have found, and this is my personal preference, that this car pops and cracks more than a Mustang GT. And the reason they tuned this car is so it could be very precise to the movie Bullitt when Steve McQueen, you know, is on kind of the back roads in San Francisco, and you can hear between shifts just how tall the throws are. And just the cracks and the pops in between the shifts as he's driving down the road. And so that is something that I personally think is just different on the Bullitt versus any other Mustang that you're gonna buy. However, with the Mach 1s, they basically take this car, change a few things, and that's the Mach 1. So the Mach 1 is gonna sound very similar, if not identical, to the Bullitt. Another thing to point out that's unique is this actually has nitro-plated exhaust tips. It's something similar that you guys can find in the Ford Raptor, but it's just kind of just this blacked out, just very non-flashy exhaust tips. This does have the active valve exhaust. All of the Bullitt Mustangs come with that. I really don't want to cover a lot of the features that do or don't come with it based on packages, but just know with the Bullitt Mustang, there's a lot of features that do come with it. But the exhaust tips is different, rear diffuser is different, and obviously the Bullitt badge right there is a little bit different. And hey, we're paying homage right here to Steve McQueen. So let's jump into the interior of the car and just point out some other differences of how this car just continues to be unique and different from a regular Mustang. On the interior of the car, you're gonna notice that you're gonna have a Bullitt seal plate. One thing that is different, and one thing that I wish they would have changed, is this does not light up. So on the premium Mustang GTs, obviously this lights up, you can change the colors, but this stays the same. It is kind of embossed, so it is kind of cool. However, I wish this would have been able to light up. Moving on over into the seats, you're gonna notice that there's the Highland green stitching. This actually complements and looks really good in the car. I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but there's several parts and places in the car, including floor mats, including up on the dash up here. You can kind of see they went with the Highland green, and I think it looks really awesome. One thing that you're gonna see it's a little bit different is these seats have some ribbing in it. You're gonna notice with the Mach 1s that they've actually put a lot of this ribbing into their seats, and these seats are probably some of my most favorite seats that I've sat in. It's just super comfortable. They are heated and cooled. You can get the Recaro seats in the Bullitt Mustang, however, it doesn't have heated and cooled, and it also doesn't have memory. So my car has every single spec on it, minus the Recaro racing seats. So you're gonna notice there's a lot of ribbing. The standard Mustang GTs don't have this ribbing. I actually think these are gonna hold up a lot nicer. I've seen a lot of Mustang GTs where the fabric starts to lift after a little while. Another thing that's a little bit different is this machine spun aluminum. That is something that is a little bit unique. I actually think it looks really cool inside of the car. This is kind of pays homage to just older cars in general. On the normal Mustangs, you do get just this same kind of color. I think Ford does a good job with this. However, this is machine spun and adds just a little bit of extra texture and looks really cool in the car. Something I think Ford does a really good job of is the nameplates that they put in their car. Obviously, this is custom and has Bullitt in there. I think it's really cool. Obviously, it has kind of your build specs on here, your number, that you can kind of track it based on plants and where it came from, and you know what number it was rolling off the lot. And I think it's something really cool to the Bullitt that they actually have that plaque there. Another thing that's really cool is you do get a cue ball shifter. Something to note is the cue ball was not part of the movie Bullitt. It was part of the hero car after the movie where the pool cube kind of shifter was installed, so that is something that's a little bit different. Obviously you can see the Highland green stitching kind of continues throughout the car as well on the shift boot. There are some spots that I don't understand why Ford didn't put the Highland green in, like right over here or on the steering wheel, but you know, overall I really like the Highland green. I wasn't sure I would like it at first, but when I saw it in person, I actually think it complements and looks really great on the black interior. Jumping on over to the driver's side, you're gonna notice right here, you can have a big Bullitt badge. The steering wheel is exactly the same, although that they just do have this Bullitt icon on there that I think is really cool. And one of the other things that's unique as we start up the car, that hopefully you guys can see, sorry about the lighting, it's a little bit bright. Let me see if I can get that better. Let's go ahead and start it up for you guys so you can kind of see as you start it up that you have the graphics from the Bullitt. All right guys, so that is it. Hopefully you guys can now understand how a Bullitt Mustang is different than just your standard Mustang GT. I personally love this car. There's so many things that Ford did right on this car. This car is really unique and different, and in an upcoming video, I'm gonna share why I think this is a better buy than a Ford Mustang Mach 1. Guys, I'm Austin with Gone in 60. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, smash that like button, leave me a comment. If you don't like it, that's okay. Leave me a nasty comment, give it a thumbs down. Either way, it helps the video get more traction. Thank you guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.